So I'm talking about the disabilities that at least I have, abilities and disabilities. So in this interconnectedness, and where is our disability?
Very good question. Very good question. Say we need to be one. We need to be very objective. At the moment, we have the two sides. We have the two facets, the limitations and the strength. Right? We have the limitations and the strength. And the fact that we have the limitations and the strength, this is not independently existent. Everything is dependently originated. You getting it? Everything that exists in the universe should necessarily be dependently originated, including my weaknesses, my limitations. They are also dependently originated, right? Dependently originated means there are factors. There are factors dependent upon which I become weak. Okay, now if I change these factors, my weakness will disappear. Simply because we have the limitations should not confine us to stay weak. Our job is to explore what are the factors which make me weak. Right? Which make me weak. And the moment you discover what these factors are, then you change these factors, remove these factors, right? Then the resultant state in the form of the weakness will also disappear. Because when the causes disappear, the result ultimately will disappear, right? So now, what are the factors which make me weak? One factor is self-grasping ignorance. Number two is self-centered attitude. Number three is with these two things intact, that you may be overburdening yourself. And then because of this overburdening, a tinge of anger, agitation may be arising in you. And this tinge of anger and irritation, agitation, they can consume your energy. So you are left with no energy now. Without the energy, your husband may tell you that, hey, help us, or you don't have energy to help, right? So the little energy that you have is consumed by the other negative thoughts, right? So that way, negative thoughts plus your heavy engagement with other responsibilities, with whatever capacity that you have. So the point is that we should be very practical. So what is your limitation at this moment? At this moment, what is your limitation? On that basis, you have to work. Meanwhile, even this limitation is not intrinsically real. Even that is not independently there. It is dependently there. So even this can be changed. Even this can be changed by changing the factors depending on which this limitation arises. You're getting it? Now, for this, we need to have a deep conviction is in what is known as a seed of perfect happiness. The seed of perfect happiness is within each one of us, not outside. Even despite we having so much limitations and weaknesses, but deep inside, the ultimate source of happiness is within each one of us. Whether you are believer, non-believer, whether you are Jew or the Muslim or Buddhist, non-believer, scientist, boy, girl, young, whatever, whoever we are, we all have this seed of the perfect seed of happiness within each one of us. So for this we must gain conviction. Only if we gain conviction in this, then we will come to know that the fact that I have these limitations are because of dependent origination. Depends on these factors. So one example would be to understand what ultimate source of happiness within us. Let's say the water. Say it is May, June, and then we all are waiting to cast a vote. We have to stand in the sun for 4 hours. That is in May and June, very hot, right? Yes, no?
July is hotter.
July is hotter. Say July.
July.
Okay, July. 4 hours in sun, no water. And then somebody brings 1 cup of water. And what is the dirty river inside, outside, in Israel?
All of them.
Huh? No, one. Kishon. Okay, say somebody brings the water from Kishon. Hey, now you want to drink it? What is your answer? No, you will not want to drink it. However dirty this water is, don't forget it. And the Israelis are expert in treating the water. Right? Desalination.
Yeah, the first in the world.
Right? First in the world.
Yes.
So say you treat this water and all the dirts are separated. And now the water is so clean. You want to drink it? Yes, I want to drink it. Tell me, this clean water, where did it come from? From the dirty water or from outside? From the dirty water itself. You getting it? So now, on the other hand, I have a black charcoal. On the other hand, I have a black charcoal. And I ask you to make it white inside out. Inside out. And you make it white inside out. And I will, if you're able to do that, I will reward you with, say, 5 shekels. Not million shekels, 5 shekels. Because they are technology which can make everything into gold. I know that. Right? Which you have to spend millions of dollars. So I'll give you only 5 shekels. If you're able to change this black charcoal into white inside out. Okay. Now what will you do? You will remove the black part. By removing the black part, what happens to the charcoal? What happens to the charcoal? Charcoal disappears. But with the dirty water, removing the dirt, the water does not disappear. Instead, the water becomes so clean. Yes, no?
Yeah.
What's the difference between the two things? Why? In the case of the water, by removing the dirt, it becomes so clean instead of the water disappearing. On the other hand, black charcoal, while removing the black part, instead of the black charcoal becoming white, the charcoal disappears. Why? What's the difference between the two? Anyone? Raise your hands. Yes, over there.
The water used to be clean, then they got dirty.
There's something
The,
inherent.
the water used to be pure, clean, but something happened and then they got dirty. And when you remove the dirt, it becomes clean again.
Okay, good, very good. Yes, over there.
It's inherent in the water, so something good. The clean water is what water is.
Very good, very good.
Yes.
Same. So,
It's its nature. The nature of the water is to be clean, and the nature of the charcoal is
very good.
But if you press the charcoal very hard and you heat it very much, it becomes white.
You have to spend more than 5 shekels. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. So therefore, I promise to give you only 5 shekels, not more.
But you said we have to work very hard.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying.
So you
Yeah,
won't be a charcoal anymore.
exactly. Right? Okay, so what I'm saying, so the answer is coming from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, all answers are correct. Water, the intrinsic nature of the water is clean. Right? What you did, removing the dirt, you are making the intrinsic nature of water to come out. Right? Removing the dirt, the intrinsic nature of the water comes out. The true nature of the water comes out. Whereas the true nature of water is obscured when you add the defilements, when you add the pollutants. When you add the dirt, the true nature of the water becomes obscured. When you remove the dirt, the true nature of the water comes out. Yes, no?
Yes.
Whereas with the black charcoal, so advantageously, we see that the blackness is the intrinsic nature of the charcoal. When you remove the black parts, the charcoal disappears because you are removing the true nature. Whereas removing the dirt from the water, you are not removing the true nature of the water. You are removing the advantageous nature of the water. Right? When the advantageous nature of the water is removed, then the true nature of the water comes out. That is so pure. So the true nature of the water is never dirty. It is so pure. Our mind is not like the black charcoal. The good news is that our mind is like the dirty water. However dirty the water is, however dirty our mind is, the true nature of mind is never dirty. So this final purity, which is totally freed, the true nature of mind, which is so pure of the self-grasping ignorance, self-centered attitude, anger, hatred, depression, fear. When these are all separated, the true nature of the mind comes out. That is in the state of perfection, perfect love, perfect knowledge, perfect power. So that is the ultimate source of happiness which exists within each one of us. So the only thing is that it is temporarily obscured by the adventitious mental defilements. So our job is seeing that the limitations, they are not the limitations that I have. They are not the true nature of my own mind. These are not my true nature. These are just adventitious nature. Remove them. The true nature, the perfection, the perfect power, without any limitation, will come out naturally, right? So this is how we need to gain conviction in the ultimate source of happiness existing within each one of us, and knowing that the limitations, drawbacks, defilements, they're all nothing but the adventitious natures which we can separate, right? Yes, over there.
But what happens in mental illness or like the chemistry of the brain? It doesn't matter anything?
Okay, good question. Good question. In fact, this is a very good question. Okay, say with people with a mental illness, with the people with brain damage, right? So there, one thing I like to share with you here is that, say, if somebody has the broken arms, it may take another how many months to cure? Let's say 1 month. Let's say 1 month. Okay, let's say 2 months, right? 2 months. So now, even though this can be cured after 2 months, but if there is some urgent program happening within 15 days from now, I cannot take part in it. Oh, it doesn't matter, it'll cure, but it'll take time to cure, right? Likewise, the brain damage and so forth, mental illness and so forth, sometimes because of the very strong causal factors, very strong karmic causal factors, this result may last for some time. This result may last for some time, like whole one lifetime, even, we never know. Whole one lifetime it may last. But it doesn't mean, simply because it lasts for whole one lifetime, doesn't mean that this is the intrinsic nature of the mind. Even that can be resolved. When the causal factors, the power of the causal factors, the causes, when they exhaust, then even this resultant state of the mental illness, mental problem, brain damage, can also come to an end. Any questions? Okay. If not, say, finally with all this knowledge, finally we need to say gain some experience of this. Okay, what is the next? 12, 1:30. 2, 3. Okay, we have half an hour. So, what I like to summarize here is that each one of us, we need to gain a conviction in ourselves that finally, ultimate source of happiness is within me. Is not at all in anyone else's hand. So this is what the Buddha himself said. The Buddha said it, and then later the commentators such as Nagabodhi, Aranigarjuna's student Nagabodhi, said that in Tibetan, Changju Suyyan Jimai, Suyyan Sumai, Rangshu Yonsu Shebale, Hela Sangi Sangiju. It means that enlightenment is not bestowed upon you by anyone. Enlightenment is not bestowed upon you by anyone, nor anyone holds the cause of your enlightenment for you, nor anyone holds the cause of enlightenment for you. Someone's holding the cause of enlightenment and you are waiting for you. No. It is through you, it is through your own discovery of your own Buddha nature within, ultimate source of happiness within, that you become enlightened. In other words, what he said is that nobody will come to give you enlightenment. There's no one is holding the cause of your enlightenment there, and then when you come there, they only give you. No, this will never happen. It is you. You have to discover your own seed of enlightenment within. The example which I gave you, the intrinsic nature of the water is so clean, so pure, perfectly pure. Likewise, the intrinsic nature of mind is so pure, without any mental defilements, without ego, without self-centered attitude, without anger, without jealousy, without fear, without depression. So this we have to identify. Identify this and make it manifest. Here you are Buddha, you are the enlightened one. Right? Buddha should not be confined to the Buddha Shakyamuni. Each one of us, whether a believer, non-believer, Buddhists, non-Buddhists, Jews, whatever, each one of us, when this ultimate source of happiness becomes manifest, you are known as the enlightened one, you are the awakened one. In Sanskrit, it is known as Buddha. Buddha doesn't mean the Buddhist Buddha. It means someone who has awakened fully, right? Awakened fully, and the mental defilements are gone to zero. This is the understanding. So with this, once we gain conviction in this power, yes, ultimately the source of happiness is within me. I have to do things. I have to identify this. With this, we come to know that what, if this is what is within me, then what obscures this beautiful ultimate source of within me? What obscures that? That is self-grasping ignorance. Okay, let us say like this. Self-grasping ignorance, self-centered attitude. These two combined together, then giving rise to anger, attachment, jealousy, and these in turn give rise to all the negative emotion, the karmas, right? Self-grasping ignorance and self-centered attitude, these two work hand in hand, then all the negative emotions are given rise to attachment, anger, jealousy, all these things are given rise to. Then it defiles our mind, like the water. Say the water, ocean, with the wind blowing, very strong wind blowing, then the waves are created. When the very ferocious waves are created, do you see the color of the water? You don't see the real color of the water. It becomes so whitish. In actuality, when will you see the real color of the water? Let the waves, let the wind stop. Let the wind stop. Wind stops, then the waves go back to the ocean. Then the ocean becomes very placid, serene. Then you will see the waterbed. You will see what is there inside, right? So then the real color of the water comes out. Likewise, when all this mental disturbance created by the attachment, anger, jealousy, all these things, which in turn were triggered by the two forces. What are the two forces? Self-grasping ignorance and self-centered attitude. These two are very different. These two are very different. These two, yes, I know this. Deliberately I'm asking this question. Deliberately I'm bringing this so that you ask me this question. So these two are very different. Very different. These two work hand in hand. Then all anger, attachment, jealousy, all these gross afflictions arise. Whereas if these two don't work hand in hand, if self-grasping ignorance by self, self-centered attitudes by self, then the gross negative emotions will never arise. These two come together, then the gross afflictions arise. Attachment, anger, jealousy, all these arise when these two combine together. Self-centered attitude, as I said earlier, a self-centered attitude is of two kinds. Gross one and subtle one. Gross one says that I am the most important person in the world. I am the most important one. This is the gross self-centered attitude. And a subtle self-centered attitude is, no, I'm not the most important person, but I'm important. I'm important. I'm important. I'm important. Okay, tell me, what's the problem? I'm important. Am I important or not? Yes, everyone is very important. But there's one problem. When I say I'm important, I'm never saying I'm more important. But I'm saying every day I come to you, I'm important. The next day again I come to you, I'm important. I'm important. I'm important. What's wrong with this?
You don't see the other one.
Exactly. You see the importance of the self by being oblivious to others. You never talk about the importance of she, importance of he, importance of he, importance of she. You never talk about others. You only talk about I'm important, I'm important, I'm important. So here the scope is very narrow. Scope is very narrow, right? Because the scope is very narrow, the mind becomes constricted. The mind becomes constricted. So it imprisons yourself. It imprisons yourself. Meaning that when it comes to others, then you're totally oblivious. Whereas with you, you're so active. So there's nothing wrong in it per se, but it is very narrow in the thinking. So this is a problem. This is a subtle version of self-centered attitude. Now the self-grasping ignorance, it doesn't adhere. It doesn't adhere to the self. I know. It simply sees the self as objectively real, like the dream ghost as real ghost. This self, which is like illusion, as an objectively real self. This is self-grasping ignorance. This ignorance and a self-centered attitude comes together, then all the very gross afflictions, disturbing emotions, attachment, anger, jealousy, depression, stress, tension, they all arise out of the combination of these two things. Right? Yes, over there.
Can you talk a bit about self-confidence?
Okay, self-confidence, I did mention here yesterday, right? Self-confidence, don't mistake the two things. Self-confidence in the ego. Self-confidence is, yes, I can do. Yes, I can do, right? What make you think that you can do? Because I have the ultimate source of happiness within me. I have that capacity, right? You believe in your own intrinsic, your true nature. Your true nature is perfect in knowledge, perfect in power, and perfect in compassion. So therefore, perfect in power. I have this capacity. I can do it, right? This is self-confidence. Where you are at the moment, temporarily, when this perfect power is obscured by the mental defilements, then you may have the limitations. You have the limitations. But this is not my true nature. Even the limitation is not my true nature. I can get rid of this. Even this limitation is attracted by the self-centered attitude. I will say no to self-centered attitude, and this limitation will be gone over. Right? In fact, you won't believe. Just one very ordinary person can do magic. For example, during the public talk, I'll show you one clip where just one ordinary one simple boy, he saved 669 young children, primarily Jewish. He saved the life of these people. Just young boy. He's able to do such magic. So why can't we? Now, just see, we try to work on this. See how much we can get rid of the self-centered attitude. As I said this morning, let us tell ourselves, okay, I'm going to go for an experiment for 1 month. 1 month experiment. To the best I can, I'll say no to anger. I'll say no to self-centered attitude. I'll always be trying to compassion towards that. When situation arises where anger is on the verge to arise, I will say try to subdue that. And of course, we'll have little time to go on how to work, how to deal with anger. Right? We will spend a little time on that. Okay. So like this, you try to experiment, and then see that you have a tremendous potential. Earlier, you think about helping others, oh, you have this person, and finally you become so exhausted, you are left with no energy. Now, when you say you subdue your anger, subdue your stress, where, be very practical, you have this body also. This body has so many limitations, right? Like what? Oh, now I will get rid of self-centered attitude. With self-centered attitude eradicated, then I have the power, the perfect power. Then I don't have to eat food. Then I don't have to sleep, right? No sleep, no food, you will die, right? So therefore, be very practical. At the moment, we have this very body which is also very limited. Not only the mind, body is also very limited, right? This body, the limit. As long as we have this body's limitations there, but the mind, we can improve ad infinitum. We can improve a mind ad infinitum, make it so strong ad infinitum. This is what we can do, because this ultimate source of happiness is not with the body, it's with the mind. It is there with the mind. So this mind can be improved ad infinitum. Okay, so with this, right, this is experiment that we have to do, and on that basis, see that your energy level also increases. Your happiness level of the happiness increases. When you're more happy, then you just feel like helping others. It's also easier. Okay, these tips are there. Okay. More questions? Yes?
I think I'm gonna save it to next week.
Yes, Inbal?
I'm gonna save it to next week.
Next week?
Maybe it will be more related to next week. So.
Okay, emptiness. Okay. Yes. Okay. Now the self-grasping ignorance and self-centered attitude. Self-grasping ignorance, for this, we have to have little extensive study. Self-grasping ignorance, by the very definition, is ignorance. So the counterforce of that is the wisdom. The wisdom is to see the ultimate reality, right? And the self-centered attitude. The counterforce is Adhisharish mind. Adhisharish mind. So in short, to extract the greatest meaning, to give a greatest meaning to our life, give a greatest meaning to our life, one is to enrich your knowledge, enrich your wisdom. One, if possible, try to see the reality as closely as possible. For this, we cannot really do it simply through believing that, oh yes, I have to learn more, You have to literally learn more. Say if you're into physics, you can learn physics more. With physics, what is parallel with philosophy, you will learn that. And then you take some interest in the psychology, say the philosophy, and if you're into physics, like this. And for the other cherishing, as I said earlier, make a commitment that for the next 1 month, I will say no to anger to the best I can. Even if people say you are so weak, I don't care, right? I will continue to say practice Adhisharish mind, be compassionate towards others. Okay, so with this, right? Okay. I remember that in Delhi, in Tibet House, we had say several weeks, I think maybe 1 or 2 months of teaching on bodhicitta, the unconditional for others. Unconditional. Now, what we learn will make sense only if we learn how to put them into practice. To the best you can, put them into practice. To the best. This is what I'm saying. I'm not saying that you have to find it. This is for your own happiness. I'm not saying this. What I'm saying, of course, ultimate source of happiness is within us. And temporarily why it is not manifested is because it is obscured by the mental defilements, particularly self-grasping ignorance and self-centered attitude. So the more you get rid of these things, the true nature of your own mind, the perfect source of happiness will become manifest, and you will become happy. Okay. So for that purpose, try to remove the self-centered attitude by practicing Adhisharish mind, by practicing compassion, the 4 Immeasurables. Okay. But when we say this, I'm not saying that you have to do it. This is for your own happiness. To be very realistic, to be very practical, what I would say is that to the best you can, to the best we can, I should include myself, to the best we can, we try to say no to anger and to embrace compassion as much as we can. Okay, just experiment it for 1 month and see. So finally what I'm saying is that what we learn, what we intellectually learn, see how much we can put into our day-to-day practice. Okay, so what I used to way in Tibet House, we had this class for about like, I think 1 or 2 months on this unconditional love. And then there, people really have to rush because of the job on the one hand, and the family responsibilities, like what you're doing, family responsibilities, the job, then the Delhi traffic is terrible, and particularly in the is summer, the temperature shoots up to like 47 degrees centigrade. It's just terrible. And then they have to rush to Tibet's class on what? Class on bodhicitta. So, and then they could not finish their household chores there. And then the moment they go to the sink, the water sink, to wash their hand and quickly rush to Tibet house in 47 degrees centigrade. In the sink, you see that there are so many ants there, and you have no time now. Oh, please, sorry, I have to go to attend bodhicitta class. Sorry, then you quickly, right? Okay, this is totally impractical. This is totally impractical. You are in a hurry. You are in a hurry to attend what? Bodhicitta class. Bodhicitta class for what? To improve your compassion. So, for what? Why should we improve compassion? So that I can practice with animals. This is opportunity for you to practice. This is real bodhicitta class happening here. In the sink, there are ants there, right? And then you say, I'm very sorry, I have to attend the bodhicitta class there. And then you put water, then ants die, and then you go to attend bodhicitta class. And then you may be late there, you may not have even the bodhicitta class, right? So what I'm saying is that we should be very practical. We should be practical. See, that too. Just take steps. I'm not saying that you go there, saying, Gate Bodhisoha, right? It should be Gate. Just see how much we can take steps. Whatever step they can take, try to take that step. And then, as you take the first step, the second one is nearby. When you reach the second, third one is nearby. When it's the third, fourth one is nearby. This is how we have to grow. Okay, with this, now, I think better would be, I like to do, the next thing that I want to share with you is about dealing with the counterforce of compassion. What's the counterforce of compassion? What's the counterforce of compassion? Anger. Dealing with anger. I like to share with you a little bit about this. So, maybe one question here. Okay. You want in Tibetan or in English? English. Enlightenment is not bestowed upon you by anyone. No anyone else holds the cause of your enlightenment for you. It is through you discovering your Buddha nature that you will achieve enlightenment. Okay. Now what we do is that otherwise, yes, we have 10 minutes more. We have 10 minutes more, but we'll continue this, and then at 3 we'll stop, then we will come at 3:30. After half an hour break, right? Okay, so now, what do you think? Shosh? Okay, so now, schedule says, yes, it's till 3. We have just 7 minutes more now.
And then we have the...
Then we have a tea break, 3 to 3:15. Then final talk. Okay. Here.
and then we have the manager talk. Okay. So this we have we are meeting without you.
Yes.
And after that is your talk.
Okay. Okay.
4 o'clock.
Yes,
4
4.
o'clock is
Yes.
you come for teaching. Then we have some insight how to
Okay.
organize.
Okay. I think practically speaking.
But you can change it. It's up
Okay.
to you.
Now, practically speaking, I think because the break is just for 15 minutes. Practically speaking, we'll retire for the break now.
Okay.
So that way we can have like 20 minutes break, and we'll come back at 3:15.
Yeah.
We'll come back, and then the final talk by DFI,
Yeah.
Dharma Friends of Israel, and then at 4 we'll have the next class.
Okay. So at 4 o'clock
Same,
we
same,
have the
same.
Yeah.
Same
Okay.
timetable.
Yeah. Okay. That's
Okay, we'll have tea break now.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.